distract both the lecturers and the audience. Number two, if possible, keep your camera open. Number three, you can keep your notes. You can keep notes of your questions during the lecture and comment them on the comment section after the lecture during the Q&A part. Now, let us now open the program with the doxology to be followed by the Philippine national anthem and the Indonesian national anthem. Please give your attention to our audio visual presentation.
Kasi on cam James.
Nakikita niyo pa rin, ma'am? All right. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for the technical difficulty. We'll do better next time. Now that I know that we are all ready to hear from our lecturers, as I said earlier, this is our third installment of the lecture series in English and communication. May I again remind everyone of our house rules. Number one, please keep your microphone on mute during the lecture in order to not distract both the lecturers and the audience. Number two, if possible, keep your camera open, but if it's not possible due to internet connectivity, you may turn off your camera. And number three, you can keep notes of your questions during the lecture and comment them on the comment section after the lecture during the Q&A part. I would just like to acknowledge all the participants from Indonesia, Universitas PGRI Semarang, and the participants, students, and teachers from the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University here in the province of La Union. So far, it's already 1:59. I think we will start early today so that we'll be able to finish this series today early as well. It's just 1:59 and I'm seeing 42 participants in our Zoom. I think this is also live on YouTube. Later on, there will be some other participants who will be coming in for our session. So now, let's introduce our first speaker for this third session. All right. So our first lecturer is a licensed professional English teacher from Palawan, La Union, here in the Philippines. She earned the degree of Doctor from the University of the Philippines Open University. Her other educational achievements also include a master's degree in development communication, complemented by a professional teaching certification, both obtained from the University of the Philippines Open University. Moreover, she holds a bachelor's degree in communication, specializing in speech communication with a minor in broadcast communication from the University of the Philippines, Baguio. Currently, our speaker serves as one of the core faculty members of the Bachelor of Arts in English Language program at the DIMSU North La Union campus. In addition to her teaching roles, she holds the designation Executive Assistant to the President of DIMSU and now the University Board Secretary. Her research interests include environmental communication, food communication, critical and cultural communication, new media studies, information and knowledge management, social mobilization, nonverbal communication, educational communication, and qualitative research methodologies. With your react button, let us now all welcome in the spotlight Dr. Hannah Kimberly Obar Grindolo. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. J.R. Haraka, for the introduction. May I also recognize the participants for today from Universitas PGRI Semarang and DIMSU here in the Philippines. All right, so for this afternoon, the topic that was assigned to me is organizational communication. So for this afternoon, so Sir GR will be flashing the slides for this afternoon. Okay, so so anyway, for the organizational communication, the topic outline for this afternoon. So we have 3 parts. So just 3 short parts for this lecture. So the first part will be what is organizational communication, and the second will be tackling about the 3 schools of thought. Okay, and the third would be the organizational concepts that will be viewed from those three schools of thoughts. Okay, so the first, yes, this is the first question that we will be answering. So it says there, what is organizational communication? Okay, so perhaps a lot of you might have different definitions of organizational communication, and that's okay. So in this lecture, we will focus on exploring the different perspectives of organizational communication and how they perceive the interplay between communication and the organization. Okay, so perhaps the others might define it as forms of channels and communications among members of organizations. Okay, so that's also one way to put it. Okay, so we will look at this question in the same way that Stanley Dietz. Okay, Stanley Dietz is actually a prominent scholar and influential figure in the field of organizational communication. So he approached the topic in his article Conceptual Foundations, and he said that the approach is not to get it right, but to understand our choices. Okay, so rather than we define organizational communication or answer the question, what is organizational communication? He encouraged us to instead ask the question, what do we see or what are we able to do if we think of organizational communication in one way versus another? So in the next slide, so we will be looking at organizational communication from these three schools of thought. First is the functionalist school, or FS. Next, interpretive/critical schools, or ICS. And lastly, Montreal School. So let's move on to the first. So functionalist school perspective. So when we approach organizational communication from the perspective of FS, so we see communication as a tool for achieving specific goals within a fixed organizational structure. So this means that communication is viewed as something or as a means of transmitting information and messages, okay, rather than as a dynamic process that shapes and is thereby shaped by the organization itself. So from this perspective, you're able to analyze, say for instance, your communication channels and processes to ensure that information being is transmitted effectively and efficiently. This might involve designing communication protocols, establishing feedback loops to monitor and improve communication, and developing training programs as well to improve communication skills, maybe among your employees. Okay. On the next slide, from this point of view, so from the functionalist school, so you see communication as like it's fixed, it's like a container. So that's the point of view of functionalist school. And communication is the flow of information, okay? And within this frame, communication is passive and instrumental. It's tool-like, it's very functional. Thus, you're able to design, monitor, and control flow of information within the organization. Okay, so that's the point of view of the functionalist school. So the next would be the interpretive school. Okay, so that's what's flashed right now. So when we say that when we look at this organizational communication from this school of thought, we view communication as producing organization. Okay, we mean that communication is not just a tool, unlike the first one, which is functionalist perspective. Okay, so we actually view it as a fundamental process that shapes and creates the organization itself. So from this perspective, organization is seen as something that is fluid, constantly evolving. It's an evolving entity that is produced and reproduced through the ongoing communication and meaning-making activities of its members. In the next slide, we see under interpretive school perspective, so you understand how members of the organization interpret and make sense of their experience, and how this meaning-making process shapes their actions and interactions. So this might involve analyzing narratives, stories, discourses, and that circulate within the organization, and exploring how these narratives are constructed and contested. Okay, so on that same slide, we have also the critical schools perspective. So they go hand in hand. So you're able to identify uh, and challenge the power dynamics. So that's the theme under critical schools, power dynamics that exists within the organization. And you explore the ways in which certain meanings and perspectives are privileged among the others. So this might involve examining the ways in which there are dominant groups within the organization, and especially in the flow of information. And we'll see how this shapes the discourse around certain issues and working to amplify the voices of the marginalized or silenced group. So again, in this view, ICS, so communication is seen as a generative and transformative process that shapes and creates organizations. And we emphasize the importance of understanding and challenging the power dynamics that exists within them. So in the next slide, you will see this is the Montreal School approach. So this is the third perspective. This is actually pioneered by James Taylor, and along with other professionals or scholars in this school of thought. So the focus of this school is on text, speech, and linguistic forms to understand their organizing properties. So when we say that the Montreal School of Organizational Communication, we view communication as constitutive of organization. We mean that communication and organization are seen as inherently linked and inseparable. Okay. So from this perspective, the organization is not just produced through communication, but is actually constituted by communication. So meaning that communication is a fundamental process that brings the organization into being. So when viewing when viewing organizational communication from this perspective, so you're able to analyze the ways in which communication creates and shapes the emergent organization. So this would involve perhaps exploring how communication processes generate new organizational structures, identities, and practices. And you are able to examine the ways in which these emergent properties are shaped by the ongoing communication activities of organizational members. Okay. In the next slide, moreover, in the next slide, so here you are able to understand how communication creates meaning and enables action within the organization. So this might involve studying the ways in which language, symbols, and other communicative practices shape organizational culture and identity, and exploring how these practices are used to negotiate power relations and hierarchies within the organization. So when you use this perspective, you see communication as creative and constitutive that brings the organization into being, okay? And it shapes its ongoing development. So when you focus on the emergent properties of ORGCOM, or organizational communication, so this perspective allows you to understand the dynamic, the ever-changing nature of organizations, and the ways in which they are shaped by the ongoing communication activities of their members. So now, in the next slide, we will see from these three schools of thought, we will be looking at different organizational concepts using these three schools of thought. So these concepts are process, structure, and culture. So in the next slide, we start with organizational process. So from the functionalist school, you see organizing process as information transfer from one point to another directed at attainment of organizational goals. If you look at organizing process through this lens, you're able to design input through the input, throughput, and output of information of organization. So that's the simplest way to describe it. And in the next slide, so using the ICS approach, you see organizing process as sense or meaning making. So if you look at the organizing process, you're able to understand members, how they construct or how they contest meanings that shape organizational identity. So that's how you put it. Okay, and the next slide. From the Montreal School perspective, you see organizing process as co-orienting on an object. So if you look at organizing process through this lens, you're able to understand organizational conflict and also look at the differences in worldview and describe negotiations that organizational actors are engaged in. Okay. So next concept is organizational structure and network. Okay, so in this this concept, you look at this concept from the functionalist school perspective as static connection of information nodes. So if you look at this look at the organizational structure from this lens, you're able to identify organizational authority and power based on the information source or origin. So perhaps you have in mind your organizational structures or your organizational charts, wherein you can identify the hierarchy and then as well as the flow of information from using that. Okay. So on the next slide, so the ICS view, so you see structure or network as a meaning structure. So if you look at this from this lens, you're able to identify the meanings that define or dominate organization and the power relations in an organization. So that's what we look at when we use the perspective ICS. Okay, and in the next slide, so from the Montreal School perspective, so you see structure and network as configuration of agents. So these agents may be human and non-human agents of an organization. So you are able to identify agency and authority and can understand the configuration of agents on a certain organizational object. So we emphasize importance of studying communication practices within an organization as a way of understanding how agents interact with one another and how power is distributed within the organization. So you recognize communication as not simply a tool for transmitting information, but it is also a key mechanism through which power and influence are exercised within organizational structures. So there's a lot of discussion under Montreal School for Organizational Network. However, to put it simply, there are human and non-human agents that are actors in an organization, and these are the things that we have to consider when looking at organization and structure and network using the Montreal School perspective. So we consider human and non-human actors as active agents in organizational communication. So this school of thought provides a more holistic and nuanced view of organizational dynamics in ways in which communication shapes the structure and operation of organizations. So next, this is the last organizational concept to be looked at, the three schools of thought. So organizational culture. So from the FS point of view, you see organizational structure, or I mean culture, as what the organization has. So for instance, it has artifacts, it has acts. So if you look at the organizational culture, you are able to identify what is innate in the organization or what is imported from another environment. So we mean that this perspective views organizational culture as a set of observable artifacts and actions that are characteristic of the organization or what's unique to the organization. So these artifacts and actions can include things like your values, your symbols, your language, your rituals, your stories, and other forms of visible behavior that are exhibited by members of the organization. Okay, so in contrast with the functionalist school, so for the functionalist school, they view organizational culture as shaped by history, environment, goals, and serves to promote stability and unity within the organization. However, from this point of view, um, organizational culture is seen as kind of a shared glue that binds members of the organization together. So you have this sense of identity and meaning and purpose under the functionalist school perspective. Okay, so in the next slide, so we have the ICS point of view. You're able to read the organizational script and anticipate what organizational members will do in from this point of view. So we mean that we view organizational culture as a set of deeply embedded and often unspoken beliefs, values, and assumptions that shape the way that organizational members perceive and interact with one another. So from the ICS point of view, organizational culture is not simply a set of observable facts and actions, but it is more complex and dynamic, more of a system of meaning making that is constantly being constructed and reconstructed through ongoing interactions between members of the organization. Overall, from this, the ICS point of view, um, from this point of view, culture is not simply, again, it is not just observable fact, artifacts, and actions. So it's more complex. And other than that, this can involve studying things like language, symbols, gestures, and that are used within the organization, as well as the underlying assumptions and values that shape these behaviors. Okay, and the next slide would also look at organizational culture from the Montreal School perspective. So from this point of view, you see organization culture as cultures in interaction. So different cultures in interaction. So if you look at this from this lens, from the MS lens, you're able to mobilize organizational agents into action or participation and can explain differences of actions of organizational members. So we mean that this perspective views organizational culture as, again, complex and dynamic, dynamic system of cultural practices and meanings that are shaped and reshaped through ongoing interactions between different agents, both human and non-human within the organization. So this is one of the unique features of MS or the Montreal School. So both human and non-human agents. So if it's non-human, usually those are technology that helps you in interacting or communicating, okay, with each other. So that's one feature of the Montreal School perspective. So overall, let's have a recap. So from the three schools of thought. So each school has its own way of looking at process. So consistent with its assumptions that communication occurs in organization. So the functionalist school looks at organizing process as information transmission from one point to another, directed at or for the purpose of achieving the organization's goal. So for ICS, so communication, produces organization. So that's what that perspective lays out. So or in there is contents of the interpretive school or critical school see organizing process as creation or contestation of meaning of what an organization is. And consistent with the assumption of communication constitutes organization. So that's the Montreal School views organizing process as co-orientation of agents or actors with respect to worldviews and occurring in a language that has conversational and textual dimensions and that makes up or constitutes a collectively called organization. So hopefully this recap. So just to give you, say for instance, a simplistic way of capturing those three schools of thought. So for functionalist school, so communication occurs in organization. For ICS, communication produces organization. And for the Montreal School, communication constitutes organization. And again, we have also discussed how we see organizational concepts such as process, structure, and network and culture from these three schools of thought. So that's the end of my lecture, and we welcome comments and suggestions or questions from the participants. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much, Dr. Grindolo, for that very short but comprehensive discussion of organizational communication. So we have learned a lot about organizational communication. We have learned that organizational communication is not just simply entering an office or an organization and that's it. No, we will be entering different schools as well. As mentioned earlier by our first speaker, Grindolo, there are schools of thought, no, with regards to organizational communication. Now, we would like to encourage questions from the audience, from our participants. If you have questions or anything that you want to say about the talk of our first speaker, you may key in or type in your questions, or you may just open your microphone and ask the questions. So we're opening at least two. We will entertain at least two questions for our first speaker. All right, so it seems that everything's clear from our first speaker who talked about organizational communication. So we would like to take this opportunity to thank our first speaker for a very wonderful discussion on the topic organizational communication. The certificates of appreciation, the certificate of appreciation will be awarded, will be given personally to Dr. Grindolo later at the end of this series. Before we let talk, before we let go of our first speaker, may I ask everyone to please open their camera and we will have a group picture. May I ask the tech team to do the honors of doing the group picture. All right. The tech team, please. The technical team. Okay. Let's have picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another slide. Second slide. One, two, three. And for the last slide. One, two. All right. Thank you very much, Ma'am Grindulo. And now to introduce to us the second speaker from the Universitas PGRI Semarang, I would like to call in my partner, Sir Israel Malanum, to do the introduction. Sir Israel.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible at this moment? Hello.
Hello.
Sound
Okay.
check.
Sorry.
All right, there we go. Once new, salamat Indonesia, mabuhay Pilipinas. Once again, welcome to the International Lecture Series in English Education Study Program and Language Department, organized by the joint partnership of Universitas PGRI Semarang and Don Mariano Marcos Mimono State University. I hope that you have had a wondrous and full of insights discussion with Dr. Hannah Kimberly Obar Grindulo. And at this moment in time, before we start, I hope that you are able to have your lips swinging. I mean, you be smiling. All right? I'm excited. You're excited. Let's do this. Our next equally competent speaker is a doctorate degree holder in Indonesian language. His dissertation is entitled Developing a Model of Process-Based Teaching Materials for Academic Essay Writing. He has received numerous research grants and published a number of researches in the last 5 years. In 2020, he has also copyrighted a book on formative assessments in English language teaching, has authored several books as well. At present, our speaker is a lecturer of the English Education Study Program at Universitas PGRI Semarang. With your react button, let us now all welcome in the very spotlight, Dr. A.B. Prabuwo Ka, SPD Home. Take it away, sir.
Okay, thank you, the moderator. Yeah. Well, actually, I would like to say thank you for joining this online lecture. Yeah. And I would like to say I'm from Universitas PGRI Semarang. Yeah, perhaps we have to know that it is located in Semarang. And we would like to have certain information, yeah, dealing with process of writing and making a paragraph. Well, some students and of course the participants are difficult to develop the ideas, yeah, because sometimes we have got more ideas in our mind, yeah, in order to have a written form. That's why process of writing is a solution, yeah, in order to get, yeah, or narrow the topic. Well, process of writing consists of some steps. Yeah. Actually, some experts, yeah, say 5 steps, or 6 or 4, yeah, okay, including pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing. But I would like to have in detail information. There are 8 steps that I would like to share here. The first is pre-writing, yeah, and second drafting, third revising, and fourth editing, and 5 proofreading, the 6 final copy, 7 evaluation, and 8 publishing. Yeah. Well, could you please show us the PowerPoint of mine? Hello, Mr. Moderator. Okay. In pre-writing, okay, we have got something to do, yeah, because in our mind, yeah, it's very difficult to explore. That's why we have to be careful for to find out information a lot, to share the topic that we would like to have. That's the point, yeah. So we need pre-writing, yeah. Second slide. Okay, yeah. Okay, pre-writing. Okay, right. Okay, we have got 8 steps, and I would like to say the first is pre-writing. Okay, next slide. Yeah, next slide. Steps of rewriting. Yeah, well, here, okay, literally, okay, we have to say that rewriting means before writing, right? Okay, we have to prepare everything before writing. Yes, of course, one of them is we have to choose a topic to write on. Yeah, we have to generate the ideas, focus on the main idea or central ideas. Okay, we have to make online, yeah, something like this. It means that we have got something to do, okay, because okay, we have got a lot of things. Yeah, we got ideas. Yeah, if okay, the teacher asks us to write okay, a paragraph, yeah, and the teacher just say, okay, could you please write a paragraph, and the topic is up to you. Okay. Of course, the students will be difficult to express the ideas in the written form, and rewriting here will help you, help students to understand that we will have to narrow, yeah, the ideas. Okay. That's why the students would like to have, okay, the focus or ideas, or we call it central idea. Okay. That's why okay, it's easy for the students to get this. Yeah. Rewriting would like to have something to do, and the steps are next, yeah, in the slide. Okay, we say first free writing. Free writing and free writing, of course, okay, they are absolutely totally different, right? Free writing means that you have to write freely. It's up to you. Yeah, depends on okay, what you would like to write here. Yeah, there are many things to think, and you have to put okay, one of the ideas okay, to write in the written form. Okay, next in the was it the slide? Yeah. Look at this. Yeah, this is the free writing example of free writing. Yeah, actually, the topic is Eiffel Tower, right? Okay, and students would like to express the ideas dealing with Eiffel Tower. They can predict, and they the students draw up the conclusion, or perhaps they have to was it describe what Eiffel Tower is. Uh, some students are difficult to describe because some haven't visited Eiffel Tower in Paris yet, right? That's why they would like to have or find out information through internet, or anything that they have read. So this is the example of rewriting. The students write freely. Yeah, Eiffel Tower is one of most famous buildings in the world. Yeah, every day there are hundreds of tourists visiting to enjoy all the beauty in every side of it. They don't know exactly that Eiffel Tower is beautiful or not. Okay, they don't know. Okay, or perhaps they just describe that Eiffel Towers are visited by hundreds of tourists every year. That's why they just arrange the words into good sentences, and they would like to have a paragraph. Okay, something like this. This is the example. Free writing, or perhaps they have found difficulties, or they have made mistakes. It's okay, no problem. That this is the way how to do in one of the steps in free writing. Next, listing. Listing is a kind of technique here in free writing. That's why they would like to throw up or put some verbs, some nouns, okay, some words actually, yeah, dealing with the topic that they have chosen before. That's why, because the topic is Eiffel Tower, okay, and the students put Eiffel Tower, buildings, icon, tourist Paris, yeah, dealing with the topic. That's why the students will have something to do here to write something, because they have got some words here dealing with the topic. Great. Okay. Cities, of course, because it's in Paris. Yeah. Attraction, architectural, visited, stairs, elevator, monument, engineer, important scenery, signal. Okay, and any other words that they have created. That's why listing is one of the topics in the free writing that will help the students how to arrange the words into good sentences and also the text. Great. Next, brainstorming. Okay, in rewriting, okay, you can use brainstorming, okay, because we have to do something that we have to find, okay, in our mind. There are many ideas in our mind. English language writing, process of writing, sound writing, Eiffel Tower, okay, any ideas in our mind. That's why we have to find that information a lot, okay, what, okay, they are, and they would like, okay, to write something dealing with what we have. Yeah, the topic, of course. Next. Then, okay, this the was it next steps. Okay, we call it outlining. Okay, outlining means that students or the writers, they would like to have outlining of the content that they would like to throw up or write. They have got plan, yeah, to write. It means that systematically they have a, what's it, plot, yeah, they have got the structure, yeah. That's why they are not, yeah, difficult anymore, because, or they are not confused anymore, because they have got something to do here. Okay, next. Later, okay, we recognize the clustering of doubling, yeah, doubling, because we use a bubble, yeah, in giving words there, yeah. And here we have to know, oh, the topic is Eiffel Tower. So we would like to circle, yeah, in a bubble, yeah, the word that we need here. Okay, next. Another technique is chronological order. I'm so sure that the Eiffel Tower has established, yeah, sorry, was established or was built in certain period. All right, okay, and it took a process, yeah, and of course, okay, when you would like to make a story, yeah, here, yeah, or students can make a story, of course, okay, they need the chronological order. It will help the students to know how to make a story based on the history. Next. Here, this is again the way how to do it. Yeah, right. If you would like to choose the topic, we have a certain technique. I'm so sure. Yeah, this is the in fact pyramid. Yeah. Okay. Education in Indonesia is the was it large, yeah, idea here. Okay, to discuss, and then you have to make it. Okay, you have to narrow the idea into the was it the title, education in Indonesia. We have to narrow into elementary, junior, higher, and university, and then you have to choose one of them. Junior high school is the was it the topic that you have to choose, and in junior high school you would like to discuss English teaching, and in the end, okay, you will have, okay, the topic or title difficulties in writing skill at class 8 of SMB1 Sukamaju. This is the title that you have got, okay, after, yeah, you try to narrow the topic. This is the way how to choose the topic. Okay, next slide. Well, after having was it the pre-topic, yeah, we can recognize the next step, yeah, after we have got, yeah, the pre-writing, we have to write, yeah. In the drafting session, yeah, of course, the writer can write any ideas that have been gathered during brainstorming into paragraph. Okay, the students should define the purpose, yeah, of the topic. They have to organize the ideas and conclude the draft. Okay, in the drafting, okay, session, the writer or the students, can write the idea here. Next. Of course, after having the drafting, yeah, you have to get some mistakes or errors, here, or perhaps the content, okay, is not good at all. So you have to revise. Yeah. You have to revise. Okay, you have to revise, okay, and then check, okay, what you have written. Yeah, of course, okay, by rearranging, adding, deleting content, or perhaps you have to make it style. Yeah, yeah. In is of course intended to the audience. Next. Next step, okay, you recognize editing. At this point in the writing process, writer corrects errors in grammar, yeah, mechanics, and edit to improve style and clarity. Look at this. Eiffel Tower is one of the most famous buildings in the world. Yeah, every day there are hundreds of tourists visiting. You have to find that information here. Perhaps you forget, yeah, to was it to put the punctuation or the capital letter or what. Okay, that's why you have to fix, yeah, to edit, yeah, the text or the draft that you have create. Yeah, next. And then proofreading. It means that you have to focus, yeah, the mistakes, yeah, improve spelling, grammar, punctuation, capital errors, and consistency. In publishing, yeah, proofreading comes into play at the very end of the editorial process after paragraph has been corrected by a copy or line editor. Next, sixth step, yeah, after having the process, okay, from was it the beginning, yeah, you try to find out the information about the ideas, yeah, and then you have to write something in the drafting, yeah. You have to check, yeah, the mistakes and errors, yeah, and at the end, after having revision, editing, and of course proofreading, at this point, the writing process, the writer can make a final copy, yeah, of the essay or the paragraph, yeah, after, yeah, revising, editing, and proofreading that you have done. Yeah. It is the end? No. Next, after having the final copy, you have to evaluate. Yeah, yeah, you have to evaluate. Students evaluate or check the paragraph before submitting to the publication. Okay, a checklist can be used, okay, to evaluate and to check precisely. Perhaps errors will not be found after. Okay, that's the point. So we need evaluation. And last one, yeah. Next next slide. Okay, after doing after evaluating, yeah, you have to publish. Or in the class, okay, you try to submit, yeah, the writing draft that you have made, yeah, to teacher's desk. It means that you like to try to say this is the final copy that you have done. Or if you would like to send this as the article of journal, yeah, of course you have to publish, yeah, to send to the journal as the journal article. Yeah, this is the process of writing. And we have got the text. Next, okay, after knowing, yeah, the way how to write, yeah, and we call it the process of writing, we arrive at the point, writing a paragraph. I'm so sure the students have got difficulties in write a paragraph. Yeah, they have to arrange the words into good sentences, and the sentences must be logical, yeah, okay, meaningful, okay, anything it's logic, yeah. Writing a paragraph. Before starting to write paragraph, we should know indent or skip line. Okay, central idea such as thesis statement, general statement. Yeah. Okay, and the ideas that related to main ideas. Yeah, the length. Yeah, the detail. Is it important or not? Yeah, the reasons, the examples. You have to uh, write down. Yeah, the examples in your own paragraph. Yeah. The Pritzker term, yeah, and with Pritzker, of course, you can try to write the paragraph. We said how to connect one sentence to another sentence. Okay, this is paragraph. Go ahead. Yeah. This is the example, okay, of the paragraph after knowing the process of writing and also the way how to write a paragraph. Yeah, of course, okay, you are so sure, yeah, that making a paragraph, okay, needs process. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. The examples. Great changes require powerful hand to guide them. Okay, and then okay, based on okay the text here, okay, look at you can find ideas, vocabularies, the sentence pattern, and they are correct, because they have got something to do with process of writing. So the process of writing and writing a paragraph are connected to each other. Yeah, that's why you as students need process writing before you write a paragraph or any other text. Thank you. I think the same. Well, okay. I give the time to the moderator.
Yep, and there you go. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for
Welcome.
hearing such wondrous, insightful message about writing and writing a paragraph. Actually, I've got a lot of takeaways coming from the session we just had from Dr. A.B. Prabowo Kusume Adi. Number one of such, I believe that honing or harnessing our writing skills is vital to our language competence. And secondly, writing as an indispensable skill is a matter of arranging, ordering, and systematizing ideas. Because, before you write a statement or sort of statement, you'll be dealing with a lot of ideas, isn't it? So thank you so much, Dr. Abe Paboa, for emphasizing the importance of being systematic in everything. More importantly, in writing. Thank you so much. We're so grateful. All right. And I
You're
think
welcome.
everyone down there is so excited as well to share their questions or to shed light to any blurry moments they've got. So please, anyone from the audience, would you please jot down all of your questions so that we will be enlightened further more with our wondrous topic. Should you have any questions, please comment that in our comment section, or you may be able to raise your hand up and wave your question down there. I love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Prabowo. I really appreciate how you emphasize the essence or the importance of getting things in order. Because, when we write, we oftentimes struggle because we don't know how to do it, how to start it, and write this wondrous topic we just had. We are so enlightened and we are therefore given a direction. Wow, I love that. All right. How about our dearest respondents? What questions you've got with you, or is it wondrously clear or properly set? Do we have questions? Oh, I believe that was so very well said, but let us wait for more. Do we have questions? We are now excited to address all of your concerns or questions. Do we have it? Or would we have it? There you go. Thank you so much. That just simply means it was very well laid. Or somebody here is doubting. Come on. We are giving you another 20 seconds to jot down your questions. Anything about writing or writing your process? Come on. Do you have any? We're waiting for you. None so far. Okay, there you go. Are you sure? Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. If it so happens that you have questions with you, please do not hesitate to raise it up. All right. Once you new, you're tuning into International Lecture Series in English and Language Study Program and Language Department. Thank you so much for dropping by with us and jumping with us to this wondrous event we have for today. We have an equally competent speakers for today, and I hope that what they shared onto us are indeed vital to our continuous learning. Please do not forget that we are always learning, and this wondrous sessions we've got is actually recorded. So anytime you want to return and recall those concepts, you are able to. Okay, so at this point in time, we would like to tell that our wonderful speaker, Dr. Pabo, will be receiving his e-certificate via email. And I think my partner, Dr. Harata, would be on deck for such. All right, so my partner, Dr. Harata, are you there still? Actually, I was thinking a while back, maybe there are really questions, but they're just too shy to share it out with us.
Okay.
Still, we're waiting for you. Come on. May you please share your heart out, your questions, your thoughts about it? Because I believe if they've gotten the questions, it means it is very well said. I love that. All right. So, tech team, would we request for the closing point so that we would be able to tremendously and lovingly conclude this wondrous event of ours in order as well? We wait for a minute for Dr. Harata, my partner, to set forth our concluding point. Okay, that's it. It's the 17th of May, 2023. It's a splendid day. Salamat, Indonesia. Mabuhay, Pilipinas. Berbalik salamat. Thank you so much. And that concludes our International Lecture Series in English Education Study Program and Languages Department. Till next session again. Thank you so much, and God bless you, everyone. And right this time, we hereby conclude our wondrous lecture series. See you soon once again. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And before I almost forgot, could we have our wondrous photo op? Could we be assisted by the technical team to please have our wondrous groovy or photo documentation on the deck? Okay.
Okay.
Is our tech team down there? Would we please have our photo op or documentation? I hope our tech team is initiating the process of documenting. So you will be forced to smile for, let's say, 30 seconds. And don't worry, I'm also having the copy. And wait for a moment and let us do this one by one. Okay, once more, everyone. Next window down there. 1, 2, 3, and smile. There you go. Wait a minute. Let me just save the photo. All right, and finally, that concludes our International Lecture Series in English Study Program and Languages Department. Till next time, once again, God bless you and have a wonder-filled and satisfied in learning day. Thank you so much. Once again, I'm your moderator. I am Surya El Malanum, all the way from DSU SLUC. Lots of love, everyone.
Thank you.